Welcome to the Shrink Show.
All right, so what bitch are we talking about this week?
Okay.
Welcome to Disney Diagnoses.
Disney Diagnoses.
With the Shrink Show.
Where we talk about our love of Disney movies and what we would do as their therapist or social worker.
After we
After I verbally assault the princess, because that's kind of what tends to happen.
No, I mean, after we really kind of dive into
Sure.
the issues.
Assess.
Yeah, like both personally, which by the way, this isn't how we would approach therapy therapeutically, but the difference is Disney movies, Pixar movies, all of those, they are like influencing so many generations to come. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot heavier weight with that. So when we talk about it, it's like, what the fuck are you teaching our kids? This is more for the older movies, right? So today,
which Disney movie are we doing today?
You know what? I think we should talk about The Little Mermaid because that was my favorite one as a little girl.
You want to know what my first CD was? The Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Do you want to know which tape, VHS, yep, aging myself, that I wore out first? Yeah, Little Mermaid. I remember literally rewinding.
Oh, yeah, I did that too.
And especially the Part of Your World song, I would spin around.
Yeah.
Part of that world.
The Little Mermaid and Bambi, I was limited to watching once a day.
Okay, Bambi, I watched like once or twice, and I was like, fuck that shit. Mom dies. I'm crying. I can't do it.
Okay. I named all of my family members different Bambi characters. So
who was Thumper?
My brother, Jeffy.
Oh, who was Flower?
That was...
You can call me Flower
if you want to. I think that was my sister. All I know is
she's a skunk.
Yeah,
she stinks.
But here's the fun part: is my dad was Mother, so I'm like 3-ish years old.
Absent, not there.
I am adopted, so I don't physically look like my parents. So my mom will be pushing me around the cart in the grocery store, and I would be going, Mother, what are you? Because I'm quoting the movie.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom would be like, God damn it, quit saying that. Because I would be calling for my dad, because he would be off like getting groceries to put in the cart as my mom is, they each were grabbing groceries. But I would be going, Mother.
Was your mom the dad character?
Mother, where are you?
That just stared at you with judgment?
Honestly, I'm not sure what my mom was.
She was Man. Man was important.
What the fuck? I don't remember what.
Okay, well, hold on. We're talking about.
I know. I'm sorry. I just needed you to know that.
Okay, so The Little Mermaid came out in 1989, and it was the first Disney princess to not be human.
Yes.
Now, I feel like from there, every other Disney princess has been human.
Except for the Princess and the Frog.
She was human. She just turned into a frog. Whereas The Little Mermaid was born
a mermaid.
Yeah. Now, I think my obsession with that, so I was 8 years old when that movie came out, so I was the right age for this. I also grew up at a lake, so I swam all the time. I'm also a Scorpio, so water is my jam. Like, I feel comfortable in water. My grandparents were like, you're like a fish, because I was a really good swimmer. I would spend all day out there with the fish. I had no siblings, and I was just swimming with my dog and the fish and whatever. Like, I was like their buddies.
I think you were Ariel.
No, but this was before that came out. So when that movie came out, I was like, yes! Ursula is also my favorite villain.
Yeah, she's a good villain.
She's a
really good one.
Now, she was the first villain, I think, if I think back to the order. Now, it's possible I'm wrong, but I feel like she was the first villain that was not family, that was outside of your household.
Maleficent wasn't family in Sleeping Beauty.
I thought she was. Oh, you're right. She wasn't. Motherfucker, I misspoke.
It's all right. It's all right.
I knew I would
I'll
have.
call you out on that. It's okay.
But Maleficent, did she have any,
Nah, she just was a pissed off evil queen.
I feel like Ursula was likable. I don't know why.
I liked Maleficent and Ursula. I always liked both of them.
I was fascinated with Ursula. I when she took that little shrimp thing.
Oh, that was the best scene.
The
of my
flower
life.
and then ate
I
that
think
shrimp.
that whole scene,
God.
I thought she was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how she did her hair.
Oh, God.
Oh
she
my
was
gosh.
magnificent.
I loved it. And then her swirl and her little crazy scene when
Yes.
and then she throws all the potions in her rage. I'm like, yeah, she's pissed.
Yeah.
She wants that fucking voice.
But she also was
She was-
doing good.
She was but I thought it was fascinating to watch how manipulative she was. I was always like, damn. She was a fast talker.
But really, if you look at it, okay, so we're going to start with Ursula.
Sure.
And here's why. She's my favorite villain. I like to try to figure out what makes a villain. Because the truth is, all of us have the villainous quality. All of us have the princess quality.
Yeah.
It is seriously, what day are you getting me on? How close is it to my period? I don't fucking know. Is it Ursula or is it Ariel?
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me. But King Triton
Anger issues.
was just king, right? I don't know how he became king. He was king.
Yeah, there's no backstory.
Now Ursula, powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Witch.
She didn't need a fucking trident to make
That's why I liked her. She's a
power.
witch.
I know, me too. She had the power in her and she knew how to use it. Now, thinking about society at that time, witches were bad. Just, Salem witch trials, right? That was any woman who spoke up. She was a witch. You had an opinion. Oh, you must be a witch, right?
Yeah.
You said, oh, you're gonna see one day, and then the guy fell and broke his ankle, and oh, you're a witch. We're gonna burn you.
Yeah.
Anything like that. You try to support each other, witch. So here she is. She's a witch. She has powers. She's doing good, right? She's just giving, whatever. These fuckers aren't following through. And he is the one that is revered and has all the things. A man is at the top of the food chain because of the trident. What other powers did he have besides the trident? Motherfucker sat on his throne.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
She was actually working. She had spies.
Yeah.
Her little minions had fucking cameras.
Yeah. Her little minions knew where Ariel was most of the time, and King Triton was just like, Ariel's probably nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to have what? A voice. That is all she wanted, was to have a voice so that she could have the power. She wanted the voice. The voice was the power. I know it was she was trying to get the king and get his, trident.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the trident
She wanted to
represents
run the
power.
ocean. Yeah. She wanted to control the oceans.
Yeah.
Because that's what King Triton.
And in order to do that, she needed a voice.
Yeah.
How many women, when we're looking at trying to advance within society, how many women have been dismissed because, oh, they're too bitchy, or, oh, you didn't say it right, or, you're too showy, or you're too this, or you're too that.
Yeah.
And they're just wanting a voice. I just need a voice because that will give me the power that I seek. I know I can rule this fucking ocean.
Yeah.
All you're doing is sitting on a fucking throne. I can do that shit.
Yeah.
And she's having to work her ass off in order to do it.
Yeah.
This is why she's my favorite.
What? So then, what would you do as her therapist?
I'm like, yeah, girl, fucking get it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fucking kill him.
God, that's tough because I think a lot of it was societal, right? That women were not given the same opportunities always, were often dismissed. A man that, is gung-ho and moving forward and, refuses to like let anyone poo-poo on his ideas is seen as a go-getter, but a woman who does that is seen as a manipulative bitch who is, you know, just needs to be put in her place. Kind of the same thing, you know, like where a man who sleeps around is like a fucking a Mac daddy, right? And a woman who sleeps around is a slut. Like it's that same kind of idea. So I would just, I think as her therapist, I would help her process what it is that she truly is seeking. She's seeking power. Okay.
Yeah. I would ask her to define what that is.
Right.
Why is it so important to you? What exactly is power?
Because power, often, when you want that kind of power, a lot of times it can come from a place of trauma because you want that control.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also come because you do know that you are capable. So if you're not able to rule the ocean, what can you do? Where can you use your powers for good?
Well, and that's the thing, because even they show in the scene when she's trying to like sales pitch Ariel into giving her voice, she fucks over so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is smart because she's an octopus. So, like, she's smart, she's manipulative, she can see ahead of the game because that's exactly what those animals do. So that would be something I would ask her more about. I'd be like, why is it that you have to set up these contracts with people and make it, or these people,
and fuck them over,
make it so you always win? You know, let's dive more into that. Where does that come from? Where does this need that you always need to be?
Also, you want to control the ocean. Homegirl, just grow legs and go control the people world. You know?
Well, she tried for a hot minute.
Well, but it was all against Ariel. Like it still was focused on her getting the power of the ocean. So sometimes it's like, as women, we become rigid on, well, this is what needs to happen. If you are flexible, like with water, if you are willing to ebb and flow, because she lost her minions, her little pets.
Yeah.
Like she lost in her life. She lost all of that in this seeking of power. And is it worth that? Is it worth losing your soul? Is it worth losing a piece of yourself just to be heard, just to be seen as the person that's in control? Is it worth losing your compassion and your, you know, helpfulness? Like she was becoming ruthless and evil. It's that revenge mindset. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
No, it's never worth it. Spreading fear, not worth it. Love, right? But then let's talk about Ariel.
Let's talk about Ariel. Well, first of all, she's 16. I think as a therapist, I'm like, she's acting age appropriate for her age.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to be free, wanting to explore, wanting to kind of cut the ties from dad and family and figure out who the fuck she is.
Right.
So that would be, as a family therapist, kind of trying to explain that to King Triton, that like, listen, I'm not saying that we have to love everything that she's fucking doing, and we have to love the fact that she didn't show up for the concert and what she was the star singer.
Right.
You know, that was her bad.
That sucks. And you can be pissed.
But like developmentally, this is also appropriate behavior. So how can we learn how to better work with these behaviors rather than fight for this power and control? Because when that happens, that power struggle, that's when the teenagers will be more defiant. They will fight back.
But not only that, like, he literally destroyed everything she loved.
Everything.
Like,
and all of us remember being children at one point. When was it ever effective parenting when our parents said, no, don't do that. Quit liking that. Don't like that person. Don't like that friend. Don't like that movie. Don't like that music. When did you as a kid ever say, you're right, Mom. Absolutely yes.
I shouldn't. No, right? I just turned it up louder.
Yeah, I would be like, fuck you. I'm going to do this even more in secret because now I know I can't fucking trust you.
Right. And I remember crying when he destroyed her room of treasures. Now, if you think about it, it's a room of treasures, right? She has spent a lifetime of gathering these things because they are fascinating to her, because she's curious, because she's interested, right? So think about this with our children. Our children gather information and they dabble in things because it's interesting to them. And you could make the argument that it was interesting to her because that is where her life was meant to go, right? She was to become human and marry this prince, okay? I mean, let's just go that direction.
Sure.
So, of course, she's fascinated with the human world stuff because that is the path she's supposed to go. Like if you have a kid who's fascinated with breaking your appliances and figuring out how they work. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? Like, you ruined our toaster.
Yeah.
Well, maybe go into that more and buy them a cheap fucking, or get a free toaster at, on the buy sell trade on Facebook, or buy them a cheap one at Goodwill or whatever. Like, instead of hindering that and seeing that, you're ruining everything.
Yeah.
Help them explore it.
Yeah.
And that song, Part of Your World, I think the reason I loved that song so much is because that innate need to belong.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to fit in.
Yeah.
She didn't fit in because her family was mer people and loved the mer people, and she felt like an outsider, and she was fascinated with this other world that wasn't what her family was interested in, and it was you're not supposed to be fascinated with it, and it's dangerous, and so she didn't belong either place.
Well, let's talk about for a hot minute that dangerous mindset of that was like a generational trauma that was passed on, a generational lesson, if you will, of like, yep, we just don't trust them. Yep, we just don't trust them. So like,
it's dangerous outside of our household.
Yeah. So here comes Ariel, who's like, oh, look at these cool people up here. And everyone's like, well, it's just the way it is. Like, we just don't fucking trust them.
He's not like that today.
Yeah, like they go fishing, they do this, like, the obvious reasons that make them questionable species to mer people. But she's obviously seeing this other side that isn't a part of the argument. Mm-hmm. So that's what she's holding on to. She's like, but I see this. I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you think about that as far as like race.
Yeah.
White, black, white,
we don't understand.
Whatever.
This is the way it is. We're afraid of them. We don't understand this behavior they do.
We don't do what they do.
We don't talk to them. Because why? I don't know. I was just told we don't talk to them.
Mm-hmm. And yet she's interested and wants to learn more.
She's
and then
curious.
Falls in love with who she isn't supposed to fall in love with.
Mm-hmm. And that also is the same lesson of like, how often do people just, you are more attracted when there is a little bit of that, like, forbiddenness. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, I'm doing something I shouldn't. Like, there's a little extra, like, spice to it.
For some it's that fear as well of not wanting to betray their family.
Well, it's that fear, but that fear is the same as adrenaline. So, like, that's probably what she was experiencing.
Yeah. So if you really actually look at her and the princess relationship as she is white and he is black, kind of that forbidden love that you're not supposed to, no, don't do that. And then here she goes diving into that world, not knowing how to navigate it, not knowing how to walk within it, because it's like these new legs, and not knowing that a fork is not a hairbrush.
Right.
And having to learn like, oh, okay, that isn't what this society does. Like, I was told incorrectly by a crazy fucking pelican, right? But how often are things mistold out of what seems to be innocence?
Right.
But it isn't. It's wrong, and you have to learn it by experiencing it. I never thought about it in that regard. So Ariel gets her legs, but can't speak. Mm-hmm. She was adorable when she had little legs.
I know, that's cute.
Also, my favorite, other than the part of your world scene, is the crab scene. I missed one.
I know.
The fucking French guy with the crab and Sebastian. Poor Sebastian, man.
Sebastian just got shat on the whole fucking movie.
Did, but what I loved so much,
I always liked Flounder too. Let's talk about Sebastian and Flounder.
Flounder was innocent.
Flounder,
the best friend on the planet.
Flounder, I think, was kind of like in Pinocchio, Jiminy Cricket. Flounder was like her conscience. That was like, I don't know, like this is kind of dangerous. Like there might be sharks, and like he freaks the fuck out, and then he's the one who goes and gets help when like she needs it. Like he's the one. He's like her conscience, who's always like. He's probably that actual voice in Ariel's head who, when we are doing something wrong, and we're like, oh, I'm going to do it. But like that little voice is just like, you sure about that? That's Flounder.
I love that.
Flounder's just like her conscious. Sebastian is just like her, like it's a smaller dad, pocket-sized dad.
Well, Sebastian, I think one of the things that I loved about her and Sebastian's relationship is Sebastian kind of reminds me of like the huntsman, right? He had a job to do.
Snow White.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a job to do.
He did. He was very dutiful.
He was. And he knew he was good at his job. Mm-hmm. And his job was to the king. And this little unruly shit, I will put her in her place. And he had these
judgments. He was pissed about it because he shouldn't have been keeping track of Ariel.
Right.
But King Triton was like, it's too fucking hard. Here you go.
But yet, how beautiful was his transformation within that relationship, because what he thought was the reality wasn't. Mm-hmm. What he assumed was going to happen didn't. And the rage and the anger, like she, in all of her rebelliousness and innocence, transformed his heart and helped him see what really did matter at the end of the day. And it's not always the duty, it's to love, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like as a society, you don't just do what I say, right? Like we've gotten away from, you just do it because that's what I told you to do. It's more like, no, you need to stop as like the mini dad. You need to calm down, friend. Mm-hmm. You need to look at what is it that she really wants, and how is your behavior impacting her, and what are her dreams? What are her hopes?
Yeah. And
can you slow down a little bit to see that
duty and ask for more questions? Like, come to a place of understanding.
Yes. Yeah. And it was only through, what if he was King Triton's conscious? Because once Sebastian had to die,
he convinced King Triton.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
Because he stopped to see it really mattered to her.
Under the Sea, like, it's funny watching it as a grown-up, because as a kid, I was just like, this is cool. How fun. But like, as a grown-up, I'm like, that was the equivalent of a parent just lecturing a kid, trying to say, this is why you don't date him. Mm-hmm. He's a piece of shit because of this. But like, just trying to like really make it a good sales pitch and like flowery and pretty and catchy. And she's fucking gone. She wasn't even there for majority of the song. She left early in. And Sebastian's just like, I have this cool song. Like my sweet backup singers. So that's what I find fascinating watching it as a grown-up. Yeah. You're right. Like, he totally was like so focused on the mission that he wasn't looking at Ariel to even notice that she wasn't even looking. She wasn't even physically there. Because Flounder had taken her away to go give her the statue of Eric.
Oh my God, and then she didn't have her voice. And so it wasn't until he really had to pay attention to her body language and watch her in that environment.
He listened when she wasn't talking.
Yes.
What does that say?
Goosebumps. What does that say, Jamie, the therapist?
Well, think about how many times, what's that saying? It's like, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you need to be listening twice as hard as you're speaking.
And listening isn't hearing. I say that to my kids all the time. You're not listening to me. No, I'm listening. I said, you're hearing me, but you're not absorbing it. You're not listening. You're not sitting in what I am trying to convey to you. I try my hardest as a parent to do that for them. Like, if I'm listening to you, I'm sitting in the story. I am a part of this story, whether I'm a part of a story or not. like I'm absorbing all of what you're saying, body language and everything.
Right.
And if you think about water, what is water? Water is emotions. Water is, like, water in the tarot represents emotions. Water in astrology also represents that emotions, that ebb and flow, that give and take, that thing that we try to suppress all the time.
Right.
And here she is, this emotional being.
So then what does land represent when she goes into land? In astrology or tarot?
Practicality and abundance. In tarot, it represents like the pentacles, so that's abundance. That is love, abundance of money, abundance of resources, like abundance in general. Like harvest, the harvest. Whereas in astrology, it's roots, it's
growth,
practicality, it's growth, it's.
But that's where all the growth took place too, with her character, with Sebastian's character, and with Flounder's character, because Flounder had to let go of her.
He did.
Flounder was very codependent on her.
And he couldn't go there. Sebastian could.
Yeah, and he couldn't. He just had to trust that his friends, fucking Sebastian.
Oh my God, you're right. Because
Scuttle,
you didn't see.
Yeah, he wasn't a part of it, but he was always there.
But he was our best friend.
He was always there. Like, he was always waiting just in the water, like, ooh. But he would have to wait for Sebastian to come tell him what the fuck just happened, or wait for Scuttle to come tell him. And so, like, that is where Ariel got to not be so codependent on the fearful conscious, like the fearful part of her head, because that's what we established Flounder was. My God. And, like, this is, like, mind-blowing.
I know. I'm learning at the same time.
I'm learning so much as I'm talking to you guys. God, I'm brilliant.
You are so smart.
but the land is where they all really grew.
Yes.
They all grew so much. And that's when she spoke the least.
So interesting. Ursula wanted to be heard. She needed a voice. And it was in wanting to be heard, it was in seeking that voice and that power that was her demise. And yet, Ariel, wanting to experience this other life, had to choose to lose her voice.
Right. And just be.
And even though
and just
Eric.
be herself, too.
And, yeah.
Like, that's all she was just her most authentic self. She
was so innocent.
Offer. She did, like,
Remember
take a horse and fucking, like, ride. Like, she was her most authentic self. And I think that's why Eric fell in love with her, too, because he just was like, what the fuck is this? But she just was like, this makes me happy. Woo! You know?
Yeah.
And, like, how often are we women, especially, and especially if we're talking the beginning part of relationships, are our true authentic self saying, yeah, just get to know Elle and me, maybe, like, yeah, let's just do it.
Let's also lip
but without me talking.
Uh-oh.
Ah. What does that mean? Do we gotta plug it in?
It is plugged in.
Is it plugged in?
Plug it in, plug it in. It is, but we'll probably get the end of this recording and then that might be it for tonight. But
that's okay. This is what we're going to do.
But yeah, I love that because you're right.
I always felt bad for him.
Like, honestly,
now I understand, like, what happened.
Ariel in this entire movie, I honestly feel like she's the healthiest of all the characters. Though I'm like, homegirl.
She could have done better with some of her communication abilities.
But she's 16, so age appropriate.
Right. But as her therapist, I would say, okay, you are 16. But you're going to have to learn the ways of being a 16-year-old.
Well, if you're wanting to make grown-up decisions.
Yeah, then you need to
start
speaking like a grown-up.
To start speaking. But she literally lost that power.
True.
Which is also fascinating.
So then let's talk about signing contracts with witches.
Don't do it.
I know.
Unless they are good witches, which are most of the witches. Let me just go ahead and just point out that the term witch has been completely misused in our society and has, Halloween been used to portray strong, powerful women. as these evil entities. Not the case. Not the case at all. So I would just like to plug that really quick. Okay, so now I want to talk about Prince Eric. So Prince Eric, at the beginning, he's missing something. You can see that he's missing something. He's longing for something.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that I don't think well, I don't remember it necessarily being like, I'm longing for a relationship. Like, it wasn't a focus of that. It was just like this.
He just wanted more adventure. He's like, something is out there.
There's something more.
He kept saying that to his little servant man. Like,
Yeah.
There's something more out there.
His servant man was terrified. His little butler guy.
His servant man was the equivalent of flounder.
He was terrified of
And
everything.
So he fucking hates the water. He hates emotions. He makes him
Yes.
throw up.
Which actually, if you look at it, he was
needs
all
any
logic.
emotion.
He was
That's all
all
logic. He was great on land.
Yes.
Makes sense. Now when you say, oh my god, the symbolism in the Little Mermaid, you guys, did you realize?
Can we just side note really quick and talk about the giant penis that supposedly was in the original VHS castle
I
case?
have the VHS. Yes. Oh, what about the boner of the?
Yes, that too. The boner at the end. What is this penis symbolism within it? I don't know.
Well, maybe they're into phallic things. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Side note, Joel sent me a picture of a gift card.
Of a penis?
Well, here's what's funny about this, okay? So
Actually,
it was a Disney $50 gift card, Visa gift card, okay? And he goes, when you see it. It was Mickey hugging Minnie, okay?
was it rapey?
I was like, I don't fucking see anything. I see nothing. I was like, I stared at this fucking photo.
Like a magic eye?
I did, yeah. I was like,
Okay,
crossing my eyes.
I know, pulling it away.
Yeah. Doing all the things. I saw nothing. And so I was like, I'm sorry. I've stared. I don't see it. What is it? Like, what? I'm like, did somebody gift this to you? Like, who? What? And then he sent me a zoomed in image. My fucking iPhone said, are you sure you want to see this
Shut
image?
the fuck door.
Yeah. Are you sure you want to see this image? There might be some inappropriateness to this image.
Oh, your iPhone's trying to save your life.
It was.
Really nice.
Do you know what it was?
What was it?
It was fucking zoomed in on Minnie's dress where she was hugging him. And her dress, the way her little blouse came up and then her little dress and how it started out, it looked like a penis.
Shut up.
It looked like a fucking penis and my iPhone recognized it.
I'm gonna need you to send a visual aid so when this episode goes live,
You can fucking post that shit.
I'm posting it on the internet.
But you'll need to post the Visa card as a whole because
I
otherwise
know.
the phone's gonna be like, nope.
I know, the internet will like break down.
Yeah, I was like, what? So then when the Little Mermaid had the penises, it actually really ruined it for me. I was really disappointed once that came out years later.
Like in middle school when everyone was
I was
talking
like,
about
come
it. I
on,
know.
guys, don't ruin this shit for me. But, okay, Prince Eric. He was longing for something. He was longing for adventure, for
something new, something different.
right.
It sounds like his life was vanilla.
It was. Now, my frustration, well, and he also had, logic constantly as my, like, why you should do this and you shouldn't do that, and blah, 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 blah.
That would have been me if I was a character.
And he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, live a little, sir.
Right.
And so then my only frustration was, I know she sang to him when she saved his life.
Yes.
But when he saw her again, and it was his turn to like help her, she couldn't speak, and so he's like, "Oh, you're not the one."
Okay, when that happens, even as a grown-up, I'm always like, God, men are useless. Like, because men are just so, speaking on behalf of my husband, and I'm not sorry, Kurt.
Not all men, listeners.
Okay.
Our 5 men who listen. We
I know.
appreciate you so much.
I'm not sorry, Kurt, for saying, when I say, he's just so very, like, if it's not
It's
in
like black
his
and white.
face, then it's not there. And so, for Prince Eric, I'm just like, you're a fucking dude. Of course you didn't fucking know that was Ariel, because if it's not 100%, it's 0%. There's no in between.
Mm-mm.
Because Kurt's that way too. He's just like, that didn't make any sense. And I'm like, what? Did you just like move the thing a little to the left? He's like, oh, right, I could have done that. Like he doesn't think 5 steps past go. He just thinks, if that's not right in front of me, then that doesn't make sense.
But if you think about this, okay.
So maybe Prince Eric is just a man.
No, but Prince Eric, when he fell in love with her, he was in his emotions.
Yes.
In the ocean. Now, emotionally. They fell in love
during Kiss the Girl, which was on the water.
No. Well, yes, but falling in love with her. Oh, I guess she was singing to him on land, wasn't she? She saved him in the water.
Yeah. Saved him on the shore.
Also, let's go ahead and point out the fact that she saved him. Thank you. I love that.
She saved his fucking life. You're welcome.
Like, I loved that as well. Was she the first? Yeah, she was the
first princess to save her fucking man.
Yes, she did. She was the first one.
And dumb fuck didn't even remember.
No.
Classic.
Well, because obviously she could sing in my fucking, I'm just waking up and I can barely even, like I literally almost died. And now I'm like, now here I am running to her. My dog loves her. My dog, I know. I trust.
Yeah.
And she can't talk. Oh, well, she's
and then the dog who fucking hates human Ursula, like, red flag.
Now, to be fair, she did put a spell on him, so.
I know. Also, to be fair, Leonidas, my kitty cat, he used when Kurt and I were first dating, and Kurt would spend the night in my house apartment. Sometimes he would bring over like an overnight bag, like so he could get up and go to work. Leonidas was there too, and Leonidas peed on his bag every time. So we had to start keeping his bag in the bathroom with the door shut, because otherwise he'd pee on anything Kurt left behind.
Oh my god, I kind of love that.
And then, so the joke would always be like, Leonidas fucking hates you.
No, Leonidas just was in love with you.
No, Kurt knew, like, if Leonidas were a different animal, he would have killed Kurt.
He felt
he probably did in another life. But it would be funny because we would be watching TV, and, like, you know, we'd be cuddling on the couch, and Leonidas would be up on the top part, of, like, where the headrest part, and Kurt would be like, Jimmy. And then we'd look up, and I shit you not, Leonidas, video people will see, but Leonidas would be glaring at Kurt, and then when I would look at Leonidas, he would blink slowly and turn his head away. Like,
this is why I love cats so much.
When I saw him do that, like, and I laughed my ass off, he's like, you, and I went, that's fucking awesome, but I hope you know where you stand.
You're like, this is why you're my best friend.
I know. I always was just like, Kurt, just so you know.
I mean,
doing you a favor.
You and Leonidas do have a blanket with your pictures on it.
It's because we were meant to find each other. I found him twice in 2 different locations.
Do you and Kurt have a blanket with your pictures on it?
Yeah. No. Fuck you, Kurt.
Fuck you, Kurt. Leonidas wins.
We're having a podcast race for it, Kurt.
No, Prince Eric, longing for something. He should have trusted his instincts. I think that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's what it's teaching.
And men, I think oftentimes
men are logical.
Yes.
Ooh, because he has logic in his ears.
Because he's from land. He's from the world of logic.
Men are typically left brain-ish. Sure.
Well, it's also been pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't fucking cry.
You don't cry. Like, just do it. Just power through it. If you are in emotion, it's anger.
Right. And so if you look at this movie really was kind of that marriage between the emotional woman who had to navigate this logical side, which, to be fair, women have known how to do both for a long time. But
here we are.
We're suppressed. Because, you're cute when you don't know things. Okay.
Yeah, gaslighting us into thinking.
All right. But then you have this man who has to, he is logical and he sees what's in front of him, but it doesn't feel like it's enough because he has not explored his emotional desires and his emotional passionate side. And so it's this marriage of the two. What I also love about these two characters is they are both from royalty.
Yes.
She is a princess and he is a prince. It isn't this.
It's not a class difference.
Now, I understand Snow White, evil queen. She technically was a princess. Okay. didn't feel like that
I know.
in that movie.
Because she was still fucking picking up after all of the blue-collar men.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Whereas in this one, I mean, it was very clearly both were royalty, which, by the way, where the fuck was Prince Eric's parents? You never met his parents.
I know. They never really gave a backstory.
But he was Prince. He was very clearly Prince
They never gave a backstory. They never did.
And why is one parent always gone in Disney movies?
That's where it's, okay, ACEs. You know, our adverse
You have to
traumatic
have trauma in
experiences.
order to experience the world?
Well, look at every Disney movie. Every Disney movie starts with some trauma.
Don't even start me with Lion King. I can't even.
That'll be the next Disney
Bambi,
Diagnosis.
Lion King, fuck
Oh
off.
my God, Bambi.
Oh,
Bambi.
Mama,
It's like
mother,
Mother, where are you?
Man was in the forest that day.
I know. Fuck, Bambi.
Linda was in the forest.
Fuck was she? I'm gonna have to have my siblings. I can't believe I can't remember. Any hoodles. Okay, so that was Prince Eric and his little servant man. And then Ursula, Scuttle. I love Scuttle.
Scuttle.
Scuttle was one of my favorite characters. Because he goes, this is a dingle.
And when he started
Twisted
singing.
in there.
But here's the other thing. Scuttle, actually, let's dive in.
Scuttle was a great friend, even though he was kind of an idiot. Like, you have to give it to him. He was very protective, good friend.
Also, did he know what things were? No. Was he a good singer? No. But was he able to fucking rally the troops
When he
to destroy the evil Ursula?
Yeah, Ursula
Fuck.
the human. Yeah.
Yes. That motherfucker knew exactly
He's like
how to
one
do
of those
that.
friends you always have on hand when you're like, when the world comes to an end, I'm gonna need you to be my friend.
Yes.
Because I know.
When we go to war.
Yeah. I'm glad you're my friend, bro. You're gonna keep me alive because I'm certainly not going to.
Yes.
Right. That's Scuttle.
Like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's selling shit that doesn't make sense. He can't sing at all, but he's fucking doing it. And he's doing it all
He has the
authentically.
binoculars backwards. He goes, hey, Ariel!
No.
Clear out there. It's like, whoa.
Whoa.
Fast swimmer.
This is a dingle hopper. A snorflat.
Yeah, Starflat.
No, but he was fantastic. The other thing I love about Ariel is she was not going to let anything stand between her and what she desired. Like, Ursula comes in, tries to steal it all, tricks Prince Eric into the marriage. And even though Ariel literally could not swim, she had legs that she didn't even know how to use,
Yeah.
let alone use them in the water. She threw herself into this environment that was so unfamiliar,
Yeah.
so uncomfortable, and had to hold on and rely on her friends
Right.
to fucking get her there and rely on her friends to have her back. Like, the trust
Right.
and vulnerability
Well,
that
how
that
lucky
took.
she is to have friends like that, because the thing that, so the therapist in me is like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but her end goal is a dude. And so,
But is that really her end goal? Like, yes, in that movie. But I also feel like
her end goal was
freedom.
freedom. It happened to be the human world, but like it came with also the marriage part, like not the marriage, but being with the guy.
Because
And
in
the
our
therapist
society, did
in
we
me-
have the voice?
Right. And so the therapist in me is like, okay, so do you want, is that what you really want? Or do you want to just like try out being human for a minute? Like, because then the other part too is frequently clients don't always have the best friends like Ariel does. And they're not always pushing for the best decisions. So I'm not saying Ariel didn't have the good friends that she did that we've already agreed upon. But what if those aren't like the best things for her? Like, which friend was telling her, do you really like, do you want to just like be human for a minute, like with your voice and like try that on for size and then decide
No, I think
this
that's
lifelong commitment?
It's really important to talk about, because if you think about it, yeah, she had great friends, but none of her friends, except for Sebastian, challenged her. And she didn't give a shit what they challenged her on.
No, she had her eye on the prize.
So
it didn't
she
matter.
wasn't doing a
If they
good,
didn't say what she wanted, she swam away. Like she did just batches under the sea.
right, she wasn't doing the best job of listening. However, you can also throw it in the other argument of she knew what she wanted. And so why am I gonna waste my time?
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's only the therapist in me says it, because it's, of course, it's a happy ending in Disney, but is that what she wants? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when clients try to, I mean, if I had a Dingleberry time, I have clients who are like, trust me, things are different. We're getting back together. Or like, oh, this new person. And it's almost, and usually I'm thinking, are you trying to sales pitch this to me or to you? Like, why are you trying to convince me that this is the best decision for you?
God, I think that's a really good point because, I mean, she had that whole trove of treasures, right? They were all human treasures.
Right.
And then suddenly Prince Eric comes in, he's her out.
Right.
He's her in to the human
Right.
treasures. But did you need him? Was
Right.
he actually
That's
the only
thing
in?
that I would ask Ariel as her therapist? I would really just dive into.
Is it him that you're truly wanting?
Yes, you want human. You want to experience something different than what you have. Maybe it is just this Ursula 3-day with your legs and this time with your voice.
Yeah.
To like experience it for real. And then go on some legitimate dates with this guy. And like, you know, it always goes back to, because the therapist is looking at, is this a good, healthy relationship? There's no foundation to this. Like, it ends with them getting fucking married. So it's like, okay, we're attacking this commitment. Okay, do we need to attack the commitment?
Well, that's the problem with all of the Disney movies. I mean, you look at Snow White, you look at Sleeping Beauty, you look at Cinderella, you look at...
The only one that aggressively didn't end in marriage was Frozen.
Moana and Encanto. Like, they started, once Frozen came, the idea...
Well, like, once Frozen came, it, like, shifted.
It did, because I think what society realized is it's not like this marriage, like, there used to be this belief that marriage was this happy ending. Bullshit. Well, how many marriages end in divorce and how healthy is that? It's actually very healthy.
Do I have where they're like, I just thought marriage would be so much easier than it is.
Marriage is fucking hard.
Because I think Disney movies, it's true. Like, it's not.
Oh, you're married and you're done.
Yeah. And like, it's not the saying that Disney movies are blamed for it, but it's the idea of
happily ever after.
Thought was
they are the fucking blame.
And
happily ever after.
But I mean, I understand the whole, people are like, you know, we have to critically think and we need to be able to like make decisions for ourselves. But it's, these ideas were incepted into us at a young age, starting way back in the Snow White era of like the 1930s or...
It was 30s, yeah.
It was a while ago. You know, so it's like this idea being drilled into our brains from children that the end is marriage. And enter Frozen, who's saying the end isn't marriage. The end is, we're good.
Well, also, Frozen, just side note, the love, the sought after love is in every princess movie, okay?
Every.
But Frozen was the first one that the love was for a sibling.
Yes.
And then Moana, the love was for her people and her land.
Yeah.
And then Encanto was the love for her family and her society. Yeah. And this bigger picture, this love of the uniqueness that everybody possesses. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, whereas like the love you started at Snow White, and the love is only between one man and one woman. Mm-hmm. Like she couldn't even truly love the dwarf. She couldn't even truly, her stepmother couldn't love her. And it expanded from there, whereas Ariel, she had love of her friends. Snow White had no friends. Snow White was on her fucking
Snow
own.
White had birds, you know.
Who didn't talk to her and were only there when
they helped bake her crust of her pies, because I remember that scene.
They were only there when she was happy. They weren't there when she was struggling in the forest. Where the fuck were they then? In the dark forest.
Oh yeah, they weren't fucking there. They got the dwarves to come back and get her.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck you.
But if Scuttle were there, Scuttle would be
like, I love when he started singing.
That
It
was hilarious.
my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
But I also love Sebastian singing with all of that.
Oh.
How he used his talent to
How
do what he didn't
told
even believe
Eric
in.
what her name was.
Ariel. I got goosebumps. Like it was
Such a sweetheart. He really took a turn.
He was one of my favorite characters.
Oh, because even in that scene, it was like he was doing it again for the agenda, for the job in which he was assigned to get Ariel back under the sea with her dad. Da da da. But I think that was when he also saw like, oh, okay, she actually like really. Because remember in the next scene, he goes, "You really do like." He's like lecturing her on the pillow and she's asleep.
Oh,
and then the next scene,
like he was like you
girl,
something girl, like
yeah. And then the next scene, not quite the next scene, but like fast forward a minute, and then that's when King Triton goes, she really does love him. Like Sebastian's really full circle understanding. It's
Which
not
is
just lust. Like there's a little something.
What's interesting about that too is Ariel dealt with Sebastian. She would look after him, like she would make him come under, like when
saved his life.
Right. When the chef wanted to kill him,
yeah,
and he was stuck there. She's like, "Oh God, get under here!" But she didn't bow to him like Snow White did with Grumpy. Right. It wasn't. I don't need your approval. I'm going to do what I feel I need to do.
That's true. She'd never prayed.
No. She remained true to what she desired. And she was the first empowered princess. I mean, really. Yes, was she seeking a man? Okay, you know what? I give it to her because she was 16. That's the only issue that we can, throw at. She was 16. But she really was, like, she wasn't an asshole. But I love him, Daddy.
But in that sense, too, she was 16. She was running from one man who didn't love her, her father, to another man who did love her in a different way. So, and like he accepted her with legs. So it's like, is this coming from like a dad? If the dad would have like seen her and loved her for who she is, then she wouldn't be seeking it out elsewhere.
Except you could argue that she also had to fight for Prince Eric's love.
She did.
Because she couldn't talk. She no longer had a voice.
She wanted her voice back, though.
So she had...
There's so many layers.
Oh, my God. So she had to constantly...
She was a little manipulative, too.
Well, she had to fight.
But she also did love him. Like, I'm not saying she didn't.
She had to fight for his attention.
Layers. Yeah.
Just as much.
Mm-hmm.
It was just in a different way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You guys, this is really deep.
It did. What do you think about Ariel? I don't know what I would diagnose any of them with, honestly. Well, I do love, I think also one of my other favorite scenes was when King Triton came to that realization. Well, he sacrificed himself for her. So it was like...
When he signed the contract with Ursula, and then he turned into that sad little, like...
The sad little creature,
like,
urchin thing, whatever.
I don't know.
Seaweed looking guy.
And he had like a sad little beard.
He did, yeah. And she's like, Daddy, no!
It's so dramatic.
And I also love when Ursula was like, oh.
I know when she turned into a
and she became like this electric eel thing.
I know. That was very dramatic.
But, and it was actually kind of scary. But I loved that he sacrificed himself because that's truly what we fuck up as parents. And we do destroy our children's treasure trove, right? But once we realize that and see our children hurting, the hope is that us as parents will sacrifice, for our kids. Like I want the best for my kids. Oh, fuck.
I mean, it's still audio recording, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's just finish the audio.
All right. I want the best for my kids. I do. And I want them to be happy and healthy. And I would, at the end of the day, if it's something that I know brings them joy, and if it's something that will help them move forward, I would sacrifice whatever I can for them. And he did that. And then at the very end, when he's like,
I have to choose between loving my daughter enough to let her go or holding on tight to her and forcing her to be something that I think she should be. And he made the right choice. Like, this was really an empowering movie for parents to learn how to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Let your children be free. I mean, in this, let's just go ahead and say 1989, this comes after the 70s,
Yeah.
right? The 70s of
Well, the
that.
parents who were raised in the 70s
Right.
were, watching this.
Right. So they're the ones who are like, make love, not war. Let me be me. Let me be free. Blah, blah, blah. This was the movie that came out of that. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That does. Any other full circle, whether like social work resources, therapist options you would give to any of these characters? We've got many. We've got Ariel, obviously, Ursula, all of the friends, Scuttle, Flounder, Sebastian, King Triton.
No one has tried to change
Ariel. No,
Like, nobody was like, oh, Scuttle, you're stupid.
you're too much.
Or you're too...
No one ever said that.
Stop singing.
Sebastian did. Sebastian would be annoyed by him.
Well, that's Sebastian's character, though, yeah.
I know, but that's,
Ariel just wanted to be her, and she just was like, let everybody just be you.
yeah.
Be you. Like, Sebastian, I let you be you. Just don't keep me from being me.
Mm-hmm.
No, it still is one of my favorite movies, and Ursula will always be my favorite villain. I think she gets a bad rap, even though she went to the dark side. She did. She could have used her...
She took power to a crazy place.
She did. But if you think about society at that time...
But like as a therapist, I would say I understand, because when you are denied a voice over and over and over again,
and set aside...
I'm not...
For the smart person.
I'm not justifying, and I'm not saying it's right. And I'm saying I like the behavior, but I'm saying I understand where that comes from, that you go to this crazy place that she went to, of like, I'm demanding attention now because fuck you. So as a therapist, I would say, okay, so let's like take a step back and exhale for a minute and figure out how can you still be heard in a way that is useful, because no one's hearing you when you demand it either.
And you sound very strong and powerful.
Yeah, let's just make this work for you.
Like, if she had used all of her gifts to advance the mer people, who knows? She might have been at the right hand of King Triton.
Yeah, she could have. The hand, oh my God, she probably would have been a good one.
She would have, because
if she used her powers for that.
she understood how to get people ahead, how to, she understood what people truly want. She saw what people wanted. She knew that fucking Ariel loved this guy the minute she saw it.
Yeah.
And she knew that was her end. Like, that's brilliant if you think about it.
She was an octopus.
She was an octopus. Fucking octopuses. Like that one you saw at the zoo, who used to sneak out of his cage and go eat, what was he eating?
He'd go eat the crabs. And then, because the zookeepers would come back and they would say, the crabs keep going missing. And so they put cameras up. And it was because the fucking octopus would break out of his cage at night and go eat the crabs and then sneak back into his cage before opening. So that's why they moved the octopus at the Henry Dorley Zoo to that fucking corner spot.
I fucking love that story so much because it makes me think of Hank.
I know.
From playing.
And it just reminds you of like how intelligent these animals are. Like, we forget, I think, because like we're humans, we're kind of narcissistic. We think we like know everything and we're better. But it reminds you that like, damn, these animals are smart.
And they're so fucking like this. The fact that the octopus knew to do this after hours when no motherfuckers could catch him, you genius little shit.
Great. The fact they had to put cameras up because they knew something was up but they didn't know what.
Like, what? Like, I kind of want to be this octopus's friend. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm sorry our camera died. I'm sorry that I didn't charge my iPad enough. But we love you so much. Thank you for attending our second Disney Diagnoses.
Let us know other Disney movies or movies that you want us to watch, and we are more than happy to be that main character's therapist.
Oh my God. Love it so much. Love you. Bye.
If you think we're cool,
Or even if you don't,
please like or subscribe so you'll stay up to date on all things The Shrink Show.
thank you for choosing to spend a portion of your life with us. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Life is all a giant shrink show.
A Huda Media Production.
Side effects of listening to this podcast may include side aches or snorting from laughter, impromptu jazz hands, nodding in agreement even though you might be listening alone, an occasional "you said it, girl," and mild cases of existential dread. This podcast is strictly for entertainment and informative purposes only and is not intended or implied to diagnose, treat, or otherwise substitute for professional mental health, medical, legal, or other advice. Thank you. Unicorn says bye.